shots. That cannot happen in this game for BYU to come away with a win.
17 three-pointers. Let that soak in a little bit more. You take a look at both of these teams and where they stack up in the West Coast Conference as far as team rankings go. The Zags leading the way in the points category. That'll usually help you win a league title. Not to mention tops in three-point field goal percentage, fewest turnovers, and first in blocks. This team is loaded. BYU with their hands full on their home floor today. They win the opening tip. Back to Cassie Broadhead from Kalani Purcell, and we're underway. First quarter, BYU Gonzaga, West Coast Conference regular season finale.
Very quickly, you see the size of Gonzaga. They match up with the physicality of BYU and that size, and a great drive from Pulsifer, taking it right underneath at the trees to draw the foul from Barta.
Barta, the 6'3" sophomore out of Fairfield, Montana, draws that first foul. And Mackenzie Pulsifer will go to the free throw line looking for the game's first points. First free throw is up and good. Pulsifer entering this game just over 81% from the free throw line. Both good from the BYU senior shooting guard. 2-0 Cougars lead very early.
Pulsifer going to be right on Stockton. Stockton had a great game against BYU last, being 12 points, 5 assists. But she's a player that will have the ball in her hands a lot. The floor general running the point position for Gonzaga.
Barta going right at McKaylee Orton. Got a little too far underneath the hoop. That ball deflected under the rim, and now BYU back the other way. Broadhead cycles to Nielsen. Left wing to Pulsifer off the screen for three. That one is long off the glass, no good.
Well, good hustle from Stockton. I think she did just enough to alter Mackenzie Pulsifer in that shot. She's definitely thinking about her. She's coming at her defensively. Ellie
Tinkle had a good hesitation move, got to the hoop, but couldn't finish the layup with defenders contesting there. And now BYU again with their third possession of the game. Pulsifer holding on the left wing, looking for McKaylee Orton. Nothing there, so back out top to Nielsen, who will drive with the left hand. And Tinkle blocks that out of bounds. BYU basketball with 15 seconds on the shot clock, 8:51 to play in the first quarter.
Ellie Tinkle, one of the best defenders in this Gonzaga jersey. She suffered that injury last year, played in just a few games, and had to sit out the rest of the season. But boy, they're glad to have her back.
Out of bounds play, Kalani Purcell with the line drive jumper that goes in.
And that's the execution we're talking about. When they have those baseline out of bounds opportunities, shot clock's down just under 15, they've got to knock it down like Purcell did.
Barta tried to go backdoor to Tinkle. That ball is deflected and stolen by BYU. The Cougars with a 4-0 lead. Pulsifer back to Purcell straight away. Now gets it back. She's open for three. That one's long off the back of the iron. And the rebound to the Zags.
Pulsifer still not able to find her rhythm in her shot, and she suffered against Gonzaga at their place. Really couldn't get in a rhythm there.
Loose ball on the floor. That will go for a jump. BYU scrappy defense early here. Possession arrow belongs to the Bulldogs. Stockton to inbound, baseline right. Goes to Barta. He'll back it out and calmly knock down a 14-foot jumper. She's
got a great finesse about her game, and she's a post player that prefers to face up and really locate that rim and then make her move.
Purcell misses a wide open layup. Cudrin and Barta lost her, but the Cougars can't pay it off. They will get another possession here after the offensive rebound, and a foul is called on Ellie Tinkle as Mackenzie Pulsifer was driving baseline left. Our scorebox sponsor today, Brady Industries, provider of commercial cleaning supplies and equipment throughout the western United States for over 65 years. Brady Industries Clean Solutions, a tradition for generations. Nielsen to inbound, nearly stolen by Staub. Broadhead controls, now to Purcell, left corner. Hands off to Pulsifer on the left wing. Pulsifer will dribble once, go to Orton, cycle over to Broadhead. Free throw line extended on the right side. Cassie Broadhead holding. Still holding, and a whistle blows.
5 second.
5-second call on Cassie Broadhead. Turnover to the Zags.
Excellent defense from Gonzaga. They had an arm up. They were not allowing an easy catch from anyone. And so Broadhead had no one to pass to. Even though there was movement, the defense stuck right on their mitt.
Cudrin will go to Ellie Tinkle, who is on the right wing. Entry pass to Barta, baseline right, driving on McKaylee Orton, spins over her left shoulder, and that shot is blocked. Orton got hit in the mouth. Barta still open. Purcell over to help out defensively, and a foul is called. Jill Barta will go to the free throw line.
Well, Orton stands her ground. You see, she's straight up. This is good defense right here, but took the elbow. The left elbow is going to come down and hit Orton right in the face. Incidental contact.
First free throw good from Barta. She has all 3 of Gonzaga's points. 7:07 to play in the first quarter. 4-3 BYU leads for the moment, and we're tied at 4 after the second make from the Zags sophomore scorer, Jill Barta.
Well, she's on a mission today. She's going to put up points. She struggled last game against BYU. They did a good job defensively on her. Just 8 points for the sophomore, number 13.
Pulsifer open in the corner for 3. That one is also long. Skims off the rim, falls into the hands of Stockton. Stockton quickly into the front court, out to Barta, who can shoot the 3 and will. Knocks it down. Jill Barta 7, BYU 4.
I know Orton took a shot to the mouth last possession, but she's got to make more of an effort to get out there and contest that shot from Barta. Too easy.
Pulsifer yet to find the range from downtown. Goes to Broadhead. Entry pass to Kalani Purcell. Purcell into the lane. Out to Orton, who will try and answer for 3. How about McKaylee Orton showing the range?
Stepping up with confidence to knock it down. Just her 6th outside shot make this season. And so that's a big one for BYU.
A little give and go play. Beautiful execution from Barta. Found Kiara Kudrin cutting to the hoop. Lays it off the glass and good. Gonzaga back up by 2, 9-7.
Excellent execution. You saw Purcell. She doubled the ball when Barta caught it, but nice cut from Kudrin.
Orton this time fakes the 3. Drives into the lane. Now back out to Pulsifer. Pulsifer draws some Gonzaga defenders in the lane, out to an open Purcell, who misses that jumper, and now the rebound quickly outletted to Stockton. Over to Barta, wide open for 3 again. That time rims off, but an offensive rebound by Tinkle, and she scores the easy putback.
If you're picking between Tinkle or Barta in transition, go with Barta. And Orton went right to Tinkle, so you got to go to Barta, and then Orton doesn't box out. So an offensive rebound, extra opportunity.
11-7, Gonzaga leading here in the first quarter. Cassie Broadhead's first shot on the way. Good defense once again. Stahl trailing on that play and forced the bad miss. Laura Stockton picks up her dribble, now bounces to Barta. Faces up McKaylee Orton, nearly as still by Broadhead, who was digging down defensively.
BYU bringing that double team. They'll bring it from the guard, who will double down, or from Purcell, depending on where Barta catches the ball.
Barta, 25 feet away straight away. Now to the right wing, Ellie Tinkle will try a long 3. That's short, long rebound. Barta tracks it down in front of the BYU bench and wisely throws it off of Broadhead. But before that, a foul is called on Broadhead on Jill Barta before she went out of bounds. As it stands, 11 women's and 4 men's tournament games. We will also have bridge shows and BYU Sports Nation live daily, our national simulcast from Las Vegas. A look at Lisa Fortier, whose team has caught fire here in the last few minutes, and it continues. And one opportunity for Laura Stockton.
Well, Gonzaga is just executing offensively at a high level. They're catching BYU off guard. So when BYU overplays up top, they're back cutting, doing exactly what they should when they get that extended pressure. So a nice job from Stockton to cut towards the basket.
Laura Stockton pays off that 3-point play. 14-7 lead for Gonzaga over BYU. The Cougars opened up 4-0, and since that time have been outscored 14-3. 4:30 to play in the first quarter.
See some fresh new legs out there for Gonzaga. Coach Fortier does not play any player over 30 minutes. She likes to keep fresh legs out there, keep the energy high.
Which has been the antithesis of what BYU has dealt with. Not a deep bench for Jeff Judkins. His starters playing a ton of minutes. Let's check in with Jason Shepard. What'd you find out during the timeout, Jason?
Well, as you can imagine, in the BYU huddle, the word rebounding was brought up, and coaches were trying to get the team to rebound and stop giving Gonzaga 2 and 3 opportunities on offense. He said they're too good. They want to make sure that they're communicating better when it comes to rebounding. Spencer?
Thank you, Jason. Zags doubling up BYU right now, 14-7. And a foul is called on Amanda Wayment, who was guarding Jill Barta.
If you look at those rebound numbers, they're out-rebounding BYU 8-4, but they have 7 second chance points on 3 offensive boards. That's really been the difference so far in the game in creating those extra opportunities on the boards.
Fourth team foul for BYU, one more, and Gonzaga will shoot 2 the rest of the quarter. Stockton, guarded by Pulsifer. Off the screen is Chandler Smith, now over to Ellie Tinkle. And open for a jumper is Akira Rice, gets the offensive rebound. She's blocked on the way back up. Broadhead falling out of bounds, saves it to Christine Nielsen. BYU desperate for some offense here on their home floor. Pulsifer, oh, what a defensive play. Nearly the save in after the block by Smith. But Wayman and BYU controlled. Now there will be a discussion at the scores table,
I believe, about the shot clock.
As to how much time, yes, will be on the shot clock.
With the shot from Pulsifer, they're saying they're going back and forth on whether that possession was secured by Gonzaga or not. And if it was, you'd reset the shot clock. So she wants to look and make sure. You know, right now, they've got to get offense from Broadhead. Broadhead just has to step up and find a way to create and score. So here's a look at that shot from Pulsifer. Did she secure it and get that change of possession?
Boy, it's tough
to call. They're going to say she did. So they're going to switch the shot clock now to 26.
Okay, so BYU with 8 additional seconds on that shot clock. Nielsen. Broadhead step back three-pointer. That's a big shot from one of the premier scorers in the West Coast Conference, Cassie Broadhead.
That's exactly what BYU needs. They need their leader, their leading scorer, their leader in terms of ball facilitation and getting them in the offense.
Ellie Tinkle to Rice. Rice does a nice job to inch her way closer to the basket and then float that basket home. 16-10, Gonzaga leads.
Rice, the 6'1" sophomore, gives them a little boost off the bench. And she has that potential to put up numbers, only averages 3.5. But look at Broadhead now fight for it.
Cassie Broadhead with the last 5 points for BYU. That switch has perhaps flipped in her mind, knowing that she needs to give BYU that offensive lift. Stockton and Barta. Unfortunate miscommunication right there, as Barta thought Stockton was going to go backdoor. And a turnover to BYU. Broadhead got herself some space on that three. Kristen knocked it down.
But she just stays balanced. Just a little shot fake to get Stockton up and off the ground and creates that open space for her shot.
Gonzaga won the first meeting between these two teams on February 2nd, 87-52. One of the best shooting performances I've seen from a women's basketball team in a very long time. But Brenna Chase showing BYU has some range on their home floor as well. The Cougars, just like that, back down by 1 after trailing by as many as 7 here in the first.
Boy, when they were at Gonzaga, they could not shoot the 3-ball. Struggled very much from the outside, with Chase giving them a boost. She's about a 35% outside shooter. Here they come in transition.
Broadhead barrels in to the Gonzaga defense, and a block is called on Stockton. Tough call against Stockton. We'll take another look.
Broadhead not going to back down, and you see she's just going to try and split right between. A lot of contact there. Stockton trying to draw that charge. That's a close one.
It looked to me like she got her feet set. Initially, it didn't look like that, but on the replay, she's got a reason to complain about that call. First free throw goes in from Broadhead, tied at 16. And now BYU has a 1-point lead.
All thanks to Cassie Broadhead. 7 points now have brought them into this game. Ignited their offense because she's getting involved.
Stockton, free throw line, pull-up jumper, nicely done. Gonzaga back on top by 1. Both offenses clicking right now, 18-17. The Zags with that narrow margin of a lead. Pulsifer goes to Brenna Chase. Now Kalani Purcell, free throw line extended. On the right side, Jasmine Moody into the game for BYU as well. Cassie Broadhead now holding, will fire up a long three. That one rims off, rebounded by Rice.
Look at Moody. Moody's getting after those balls. It's those 50-50 balls, the hustle plays.
And that ball will be off of Pulsifer as she falls to the ground. Now that bounce goes in favor of the Zags after they turned it over to BYU. Rice trying to hold on to that ball.
Some of the easiest steals come from just tipping the ball from behind and catching Rice off guard. Moody Nice job. As she comes in, she really needs to be a spark, not on the offensive end, but they need defense and they need rebounding in those hustle plays as we just saw.
Jessie Loetta over to Rice. And here is McKinley Williams. Cudrin back to Williams. Quick flip with the right hand to Rice. Open jumper. Rims off to the rebound of Jasmine Moody. Pulsifer up ahead. Nothing there, so she'll go back to her point guard, Cassie Broadhead. 2 ball handlers on the floor for BYU right now with Brenna Chase and Broadhead. Gonzaga goes to a zone defense. 13 seconds to play in the first quarter. 7 on the shot for Cassie Broadhead, now 5. Chase to Purcell with 3 on the shot clock. Purcell skip pass, somehow gets through to Pulsifer. That shot's front rim no good, but an offensive rebound, and the clock gonna run out in the first quarter. 18-17, up and down quarter for first quarter in the books. 18-17, Gonzaga leading BYU, the conference's top 2 teams. WCC regular season champion Gonzaga at 14-3 in conference play, BYU at 12-5. This is the finale before these teams, along with 8 others in the WCC, will head to Las Vegas for the annual conference tournament, playing for that automatic bid to the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Brenna Chase for BYU with 15 on the shot clock. First possession of the second quarter, and it's BYU's. Chase from 25 feet. The freshman has knocked down 2 big 3-pointers in her limited minutes thus far, and BYU up by 2.
That's big time. BYU needs the lift off the bench. We talked about the depth. They don't have a lot of depth. A big reason Liz Eaton is also in the game is because of her 3-point shooting.
Kiara Cudrin tripped on her way to the basket by Jasmine Moody. Incidental contact, but the foul still there. One more look at Brenna Chase from way downtown.
But she has that distance, and when she's in rhythm of the offense and she's not forcing the shot, I like this shot selection. I think it's a great selection from the freshman.
Cudrin takes the inbound pass at Purcell. Chandler Smith gives it to Cudrin, and she is fouled baseline left going to the basket.
Purcell's got to be smarter than this. This foul's going to be on Purcell, and she swiped down to try to help out her teammate on the drive. That picks up her 2nd personal foul. She needs to be out on the court, not be stressed that she's in foul trouble.
We'll see how long Jeff Judkins leaves Kalani Purcell in the game. First free throw bounces on the front of the rim and drops in for Cudrin. Jason Shepard with more on Brenna Chase, who has hit 2 big 3-pointers for BYU.
She certainly has, and I asked Coach Jeff Judkins who he thought has made the biggest strides on this team from the beginning of the season to now, and one of the 2 players that he mentioned was Brenna Chase. He loves how much more comfortable she looks, and he loves the fact that he can play her and Cassie Broadhead together, Spencer.
Thank you, Jason. Gonzaga going with that. Oh, big collision as Jill Barta goes flying into Cassie Broadhead, who had the pump fake.
And that is called a shot fake. She got her up and sold that shot fake so well that Barta just, her momentum was going right at Broadhead.
Both players okay. BYU will inbound. That is Barta's 2nd foul. So both of our impact players have 2 fouls. Barta leaves the game. Brenna Chase to Mackenzie Pulsifer. Purcell skip pass to Chase. Quick entry into McKaylee Orton, who had her defender sealed. And Orton goes to work with Barta on the bench.
And a nice touch pass from the freshman. If she had held on to that ball any longer, it wouldn't have worked out.
McKinley Williams right back at you. Cannot blink against this Gonzaga team.
Williams is a transfer from Utah State. She's a local kid from Syracuse, Utah. And boy, does she want to have a big game being back in her home state.
Broadhead just inside the 3-point line. That one bricks hard off the back of the iron. And Williams, after that 3-point make, well, the Zags will try it again. That miss from Jessie Loetta. Rebound to the Cougars. Mackenzie Pulsifer across the timeline. Just over 8 minutes to play in the second quarter. Gonzaga with a 1-point lead, 23-22.
Last part of that first quarter and into this second quarter, BYU's done a much better job of evening up the rebounds, 11-11.
How about that move by Kalani Purcell? Faked a couple of passes, one off the dribble and then another, and up with the scoop to score.
No one can stop her when she catches the ball that low.
Kiara Gudrin. I'll see your flip, Kalani Purcell, and score that.
We're going right back and forth. Both these teams, you can tell, are executing at a high level offensively.
Brenna Chase, hesitation move, misses the layup. Rebound tapped out by McKaylee Orton. That'll be off of Orton of BYU and Gonzaga basketball. Let's take a look at Kalani Purcell's move to the hoop.
You see, she just has so many different skill sets that she can use to take a defender, a versatile player. Gudrin has had a nice game so far. 6 points for her, 2 for 2 from the field, and 3 rebounds. She's a player that's been consistent in the post for Gonzaga.
That clearly has great presence to score the basketball in tough positions under the hoop. Long rebound will fall to the Zags. They're going to put 18 seconds back on the shot clock because that ball did not hit the rim on the initial shot attempt.
The officials are on top of this and making sure that everything is correctly done, especially on that shot clock.
Laura Stockton, along with Emma Stahl, the ball handlers on the floor for Gonzaga. Stockton, hesitation, dribble drive, nicely done. Laura Stockton scores it off the glass, and the Zags lead by 3.
Well, Pulsifer was expecting more help from Purcell, but she can't give up on the play. You have to stick with the basketball.
Purcell and Broadhead work the give and go, or I should say the pick and roll to perfection on the top of the key to the hoop. And BYU answers back with another bucket. Plenty of offense so far between these two teams. 27-26, still over 6 minutes to play in the first half. Chandler Smith, turnaround jumper. That rolls around and down over Christine Nielsen.
Well, good patience down there at 6 foot. Also another transfer that came into the program, sat out last year. She's from Nebraska, but an experienced player, and I like the patience.
Broadhead, left-handed layup. Seeing all types of effective offensive moves by both of these teams.
And for how easy BYU's getting in the paint off the dribble, it's not going to make Coach Fortier very happy with her team's defense.
Pulsifer steals the ball from Stockton. Broadhead looking for a foul, almost got that ball to go in. Incidental contacts and feet getting tangled up near midcourt. Pulsifer down but back up, and Gonzaga with possession now. Ellie Tinkle will shoot the 3 over Broadhead. No good. Rebounded by Mackenzie Pulsifer. Here comes BYU again behind the back dribble. Now hands off to Broadhead near midcourt.
These teams so similar in the way that they run their offenses. They're disciplined. They have good, solid fundamentals, and a lot of players that can do a lot of things out there on the court.
Nielsen takes the pass from Purcell, thought about a 3, but then drives it inside, and that's blocked out of bounds. 6 seconds on the shot clock. McKaylee Orton back in for Brenna Chase. BYU opting to go with a little bit more size now. Broadhead to inbound. BYU only with 6 seconds on that shot clock. Again, have to get a quick shot up. It comes from Pulsifer, no good. Front rim, long rebound, tracked down by Zykira Rice. Stockton cut off on the baseline, back out to Rice, who will hand to Tinkle, cycled over to Emma Stahl. Rice now trying to post up on Purcell, who has 2 fouls. Stockton guarded closely by Pulsifer. Goes to the left to Gudrin. Double team there against Ellie Tinkle, and a jump ball call as Tinkle tried to turn through that double team. A quick whistle on that double team call, but BYU will take over possession after this timeout. BYU would be in that 2 spot and take on either Pepperdine or Pacific, but there is still plenty of shuffling that can happen on the final day of the regular season.
Yeah, some other big games in the conference. St. Mary's is at Santa Clara, so that's one we're going to keep an eye on. But
Harrison.
Laura Stockton. Left-handed layup. No good.
Shutkins was not.
Kalani Purcell on the rebound, flips it over to Cassie Broadhead. We'll check in with Jason Shepard in just a second. Broadhead takes the pass from Purcell. Now over to McKaylee Orton. Purcell corrals that basketball. Stockton came over, looked like she was in great position to make a play on that ball and potentially take it away, but Purcell just muscled it away and scored.
She didn't disrupt her enough to where Purcell has that strength to gather herself, balance herself, and score. And look at Rice. Boy, she has given them a lift off the bench. Sometimes your bench will come in and you kind of have a drop-off in offense, but not for Gonzaga. Gilbardo with those 2 fouls has been sitting on the bench, and they still have offensive production.
Rice now with 4 points, 3 rebounds in the first half. Purcell, mismatch, taking advantage of Stockton, who's playing over the top, and that backside defensive help just not in time. Kalani Purcell puts BYU back up by 1.
And BYU finally figuring out that formula of getting Purcell in the paint because they cannot defend her on that low block.
10 lead changes already in this game. Kudrum on Purcell with the 2 fouls. Rice gets into a good position against McKaylee Orton. Zakira Rice with 6 points. Big benefit off the bench, as you just said, Kristen. And we've now had 11 lead changes. Orton trying to make it 2 3-pointers. That one's back rim, no good. Ellie Tinkle with the rebound, secures it. She can handle the ball. She'll do so. Quickly into the front court. Over to Stockton. He doesn't shoot a ton of 3-pointers. Tinkle. Oh, tough move to the hoop. Nearly got it. Rice with an offensive rebound. That's no good. Ball still loose. Mackenzie Pulsifer tracks it down. She's going to go right at Stockton. Euro step in. A great defensive play by Laura Stockton as she blocks that shot.
Boy, Stockton has been fantastic in transition defensively. She's stepping up in a great spot to draw that charge and comes away at the block. And then you look, it leads to offense on the other end because they're able to get those points from a player that comes in off the bench, 6'1" sophomore Rice, who has all the confidence in the world right now.
She's got 8 points, 4 rebounds now. Broadhead, Cassie Broadhead cuts into the 3-point Gonzaga lead, 35-34. I'm tired just watching both of these teams go at each other, and Stockton called for the offensive foul. Mackenzie Pulsifer is such a pest defensively. Stockton trying to create some space.
This will be the second on Stockton as you watch Pulsifer move her feet, get in front of her, and you see the extension of the elbow. That's what they're watching for. Just a little extension of the arm warrants that call right there. And Stockton has had a fantastic game for this team. Just a sophomore. She started in every game this season. Comes from a very talented basketball family. You might recognize that name as NBA former Jazz player John Stockton is her father. But I've been very impressed how she's running the offense and been very calm. She's going to come out with those 2 fouls.
Purcell's jumper, no good. Good box out by Tinkle, who rebounds the ball. And gives to Jessie Loetta the fast break, and that takes out the cameraman under the basket. That ball drops through the hoop. 3-point advantage once again for the Zags. Cassie Broadhead back into the front court and receives some instruction from Jeff Judkins on her bench to slow things down a bit. Pulsifer to Purcell, who had great position inside again with Emma Staw on her back.
Well, BYU has worked on this 2-man game with Broadhead and Purcell. And so Purcell will come and set the screen, and then she'll roll right to the basket. And what Gonzaga's doing is they're switching, and so Purcell taking advantage of that mismatch in the paint.
Kalani Purcell makes her first free throw. Chandler Smith checking back into the game. .103 on the game clock. And Purcell now with 12 points. Once again, coming up at halftime, done a great job shutting her down offensively since that time. And then you look at the Zags scoring, the quintessential balanced performance. 8, 8, 7, 7, and really good offensive display from Gonzaga.
And that is what one thing that Coach Fortier talked about is a big strength of their team. They have that offensive balance where they'll have different players leading them in a night, scoring and rebounding, defending.
Chandler Smith's shot altered with the defense aggressive in front of her face.
BYU with an opportunity to take the lead just before halftime. Brenna Chase, guarded by Loetta, behind the back dribble off the screen of Amanda Wayman. 13 on the shot clock. Cassie Broadhead being shadowed by Ellie Tinkle. Broadhead around Tinkle, now up to Chase, open for three. That's no good. Amanda Wayman battling for the offensive rebound. It will be off of BYU and Wayman. So the Zags looking like they will for sure go into halftime with at least a 1-point lead, trying to add to it here. And the difference being that BYU has had some more success from outside. 4 of 11 from the three-point line. Zags is with 2 3-point makes. Here comes Jessie Loetta with 10 on the game clock in the first half. Loetta, oh, what a play drawn up to Kiara Cudrin. Gorgeous offense by the Zags. They lead by 3, and that will end the first half.
Well, that is an...
I think we're giving them actually too many offensive rebounds, but we're seeking out some for ourselves. Second half, we'd like to limit those and keep our number growing.
Offensively, you've been able to spread the ball around, get even scoring from everybody. How do you keep that going in the second half?
Well, we just need to set and use screens, and we're trying to make the assists, not trying to make the basket for ourselves. We're trying to get our teammate a great shot, and when we do that, we're tough to defend. It's when we go one-on-one that it becomes a little bit easier. So for us, we just need to keep looking for our teammates, setting and using screens, and running our stuff how we want to run it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Lisa Fortier, the head coach. Cassie Broadhead is fouled on her hip.
And I like that she mentioned those assists because they're looking to create that high percentage shot for their team. Well, they had 12 assists on 16 made field goals through those first 2 quarters. Those are outstanding numbers.
Broadhead makes the first free throw. Second is up and also good. A very good free throw shooter, Cassie Broadhead, also that 80% range with teammate Mackenzie Pulsifer, and she pulls the Cougars within 1 early in the 3rd quarter.
Both teams have not missed a free throw in this game. BYU 8 for 8, Gonzaga 5 for 5 at the charity stripe.
Been a very clean game relatively, not a ton of fouls, and both teams have done a good job taking care of the ball as well. I think 8 combined turnovers in the first half. Stockton with 2 on the shot clock, fires up a 3, back rim no good. Long rebound is sprinted down by Cassie Broadhead. Nielsen. And that's the second time Laura Stockton has hustled back and been called for a blocking foul while trying to take a charge in today's game.
Nice tip on that board from Purcell over to Broadhead. She knew she wouldn't be able to secure it. She had a little tip over to Broadhead, and Broadhead with the pass to Nielsen. Boy, Stockton has done a nice job getting back. As a point guard, your job, once that shot goes up, is to get back. Make sure there's no easy shots in transition. And that's a tough call because she hustled back, but the foul was drawn on her.
3 fouls now on Stockton, who will come out of the game. Pulsifer to Kalani Purcell. Purcell on the right wing will dribble back up towards the top. Now pass over to Broadhead, long 2. Rims off, rebounded by Kiara Cudrin. Jessie Loetta, point guard now with Stockton on the bench. Jill Barta back in. She had 2 fouls and had to sit out a good deal of that first half. Her jumper contested and rims off on the right side. Rebound BYU. Pulsifer quickly up the sideline, back to Broadhead. Holding, and now over to Nielsen, who gives off to Purcell. Kaylee Orton. BYU will cycle the ball back to the other side of the floor. Broadhead still holding 13 on the shot clock. Now Orton again, 3-point range. Pulsifer in the left corner. Bounces to Purcell with 8. Kalani Purcell turns over the defense. Cudrin in good defensive position.
And I think she's settling for that shot. She's got to power that ball into the paint and get at the rim. She has the strength to do it. She has the ball handling skills. So take advantage of her skill set and get to the rim.
Cudrin guarded by Purcell, and she too will opt for a jumper over the defense. That one goes down.
Cudrin is a player that does a little bit of everything for this team. She's second on the team in assists. She leads the team in rebounds. Second in scoring, 9.6 points per game. So the senior carries a big load for this team. Sometimes she doesn't get all the credit on the stat sheet, but a big part of their success.
Cassie Broadhead posted up on Emma Staw, had position. But that layup does not drop. Gonzaga looking to build on the 3-point lead. Turnover, one of the few they've had, as Cudrin tried to go to Barta inside.
And they're really trying to isolate Barta inside. As you take a look at Kudrin, she's just going to face up. Majority of the post players for Gonzaga want to face you up. Nice little step, jab step.
6th turnover for the Zags, gives BYU the possession. Broadhead, all through the Gonzaga defense.
One thing Broadhead does is very well, she doesn't stop her dribble too early. She continues with that dribble until she's all the way to the rim. She'll use that Euro step to get through the big trees down there and score the ball.
Yeah, the phrase that came to my mind as Barta misses that jumper as Broadhead was going for defense was skip to my loo.
Yeah.
I didn't go with it then, but I'm like, hey, you know, I might as well now. 6:42 to play in the 3rd quarter. Broadhead inside with the shot fake. 15-footer, just a bit long.
0 white jerseys in there on the offensive glass.
Loetta trying to go to Kudrin, who was sprinting down the floor. Steal by Purcell, who got her hand up in the passing lane. And there is another quick turnover. Broadhead open for 3, no good. Rebounded by Kudrin. Outlet to Loetta.
Gonzaga continuing to try to isolate Barta down low. BYU's going with solo coverage, so it's just been Orton guarding her one-on-one.
Ellie Tinkle.
Boy, offensive start for both teams just off here in this 3rd quarter.
Especially with the first half that both of these teams had. Jeff Judkins changing up things offensively, calling out a play he wants. Kalani Purcell, the touch pass to Orton, who was wide open but opted not to take the 3. Now 8 on the shot clock. Nielsen, baseline left. And she is tripped as she attempted that jump stop. That looked awkward. Glad to see she's not too shaken up. Our second half scorebox sponsor brought to you by Ramada Inn of St. George. You do your thing, leave the rest to us. Zakira Rice back in the game. 8 points in the 1st quarter. Huge minutes off the bench. Broadhead, baseline right. Goes to Purcell, and errant pass is not controlled and given away.
And that's a tough one. Purcell, that came flying at her. A lot of heat on that ball from Broadhead as she's trying to curl around.
Rice looking to go into double figures, and they're going to get Amanda Waymont. It looks as if Rice will have that chance to get into double figures at the free throw line unless they say that was on the floor.
This is an okay foul for Coach Judkins because Wayman's just being physical and she's trying to go straight up with Rice. She has fouls to give. So make her think about putting the ball and trying to body you up and get into the paint.
Rice working on Purcell, nothing there, and her pass is easily stolen by Mackenzie Pulsifer. Now waiting for some help, bounces out to a wide open Nielsen for 3, in and out, and then off the rim again. Both offenses still struggling here in the 3rd quarter, 5 minutes in, and it has been mostly stagnant.
And you see those active hands again with Pulsifer getting a touch on the ball. She's 2nd in the league in steals per game at 2.2. She's extending that pressure.
Only 4 points for BYU in the 3rd quarter, 2 for the Zags, 4:42 to play now, and another steal. The turnover fest continues here at the Marriott Center. Broadhead and BYU looking to capitalize. Pulsifer will try a 3. That's just long.
Right, there's a lid on the basket, both ends of the court right now.
Ellie Tinkle.
Pulsifer 0 for 8 in this game. Has not hit a field goal.
Barta trying to change that, open for 3. That's no good. Offensive rebound by Rice. There she is again. But the putback layup is no good. 2 shots, still an empty possession for Gonzaga.
Gonzaga has not scored in almost 4 minutes. BYU has not scored in 3 minutes. That's how terrible it's been with that lid on the basket for both teams.
41-40. A stat to keep in mind as Purcell skips it to Pulsifer, who has her shot blocked by Ellie Tinkle, and it's out of bounds to BYU. Gonzaga arguing that it should be Bulldogs basketball. On demand, anytime, anywhere you like it. Join myself and Jerem Jordan for the latest. Looking at the score by quarter, if you're just joining us, red hot first half for both teams.
And then the offense has just flat disappeared here in the third quarter. 4-2 in favor of BYU.
Both teams have combined for 2 for 16 from the field. It has just been ugly, but it's also been a defensive battle going back and forth.
With 1 second on the shot clock, Purcell shot that from behind the basket. It hit on top of the basket.
That's a pig shot. Worst shot, you coming from behind. She's worked on that, you can tell.
I guess after what we've seen this quarter, we shouldn't be that surprised. Listen to these trends. BYU 0 for their last 6. Gonzaga 0 for the last 4. The Zags have 4 turnovers in the last 5 minutes of game time. It has been ugly in the third quarter. Chandler Smith to Rice.
Well, and a part of that, you watch, the defensive pressure on both sides have really turned up.
Amanda Wayman on the back of Rice, who scores the layup and a foul. That will end the drought for the Bulldogs.
Rice has been tremendous for Gonzaga. Watch this, nice hand up, and then she's gonna roll to the basket very quickly. Wayman trying to keep those hands up. Let's see if she put her hands on her initially.
Not a ton of contact there.
But credit Rice for scoring the basket either way, and she makes the free throw. She has 11 points. Just one behind the team lead, Kiara Cudrin with 12, and Gonzaga up by 4. The Bulldogs 17-0 when they lead at halftime. They had a 3-point lead over BYU, and the Cougars just 1-7. Now a steal here. Ellie Tinkle all alone. Timeout, BYU and Jeff Judkins. Brenna Chase going to check back Las Vegas. If the women's tournament started today, this is what the bracket would look like right now. Gonzaga, the #1 seed as regular season champions, awaiting either San Diego or Portland. The Zags just beat San Diego on the road to clinch the regular season. BYU would play either Pepperdine or Pacific, but there is still plenty of shuffling to do, especially with St. Mary's and Santa Clara yet to play. And BYU and Gonzaga still up for grabs.
And particularly this year, I don't think there's one team where these top teams say, I'm comfortable playing them. Because as you look at their track record, Pepperdine has beat Gonzaga. San Francisco has beat BYU, some top teams. So the middle of the pack and even the bottom of the pack, a lot of parity and strength in the conference.
Broadhead, big 3-point shot on the way. That bounces off the rim over the backboard. Out of bounds to the Zags.
Now over 4 minutes where BYU has not scored.
Chandler Smith into the front court. Ball poked away for a moment by Pulsifer, who continues to play aggressive defense. Hasn't had the offensive game she's been looking for, but has made an impact on defense. Williams for 3, no good. Offensive rebound initially handled by Ellie Tinkle, but she loses it out of bounds in the scuffle. And BYU possession now. Jason Shepard, what'd you hear from, I'm sure, a frustrated Jeff Judkins in that last timeout?
Well, actually, it was a very positive huddle. I mean, they realized that Gonzaga has gone on a little run here, but on the offensive end, he likes the looks that they're getting. In fact, he said, keep shooting them, they'll fall. Spencer?
Pulsifer out to an open chase for 3. That's front rim no good. Cougars just cannot find an answer here in the third quarter. And really fortunate to only be down by 6.
Well, that was an adjustment that they made at halftime to get defensive stops, but Gonzaga has the firepower to go on runs. So this lapse offensively for BYU, can they recover? Now down 8.
Rice scores again. She leads Gonzaga with 13 points, 6 of 11 shooting, 5 rebounds, tack on an assist on her stat line. And she's done all of that in 12 minutes.
Making the most of her time, and particularly when Jill Barta had to come out in that foul trouble, carried the load in that second quarter. Barta had 7 points in the first quarter to lead the team and then has been quiet ever since.
Pulsifer to Chase, 10 seconds on the shot clock. BYU still with just 4 points here in the third quarter. Skip pass from Purcell to Broadhead. Another pretty good look. That one's in and out to just beat the shot clock, and Amanda Wayman underneath with position and a foul called on Emma Stahl.
When you're not knocking down shots, you need to do one of 2 things. Get to the free throw line or hit the offensive boards. And Wayman is creating an extra opportunity now for BYU to hopefully break this scoring drought.
Brenna Chase with a fresh 30 for BYU, gives to Broadhead, who went into 4 different Gonzaga defenders, had the ball tipped and stolen away.
Just the 7th turnover for BYU. These 2 teams lead the conference in fewest turnovers per game, so they do an excellent job taking care of the ball.
Smith and Pulsifer with those quick hands. Up ahead to an open Brenna Chase. Kudrin following. Amanda Wayman grabs the offensive rebound, knocked out of her hands, but it will stay BYU basketball. Chase looked to kind of initiate the contact and overcompensated on the shot, missing the layup. BYU will get another shot here as Rice checks out. Laura Stockton back into the game with 3 fouls.
And Chase had that wide open, but Kudrin running back. Good hustle play to battle that shot on the break.
BYU desperately looking for an offensive answer. Kalani Purcell might have to be the player to do it. And Purcell drives right to the basket off the glass. Fouled, she'll shoot 2 free throws, so there you go.
They were looking to do that handoff play. Nobody came, and so Purcell said, you know what, I'm just gonna take this ball. Nobody came for the handoff. And this has been effective through the first 2 quarters, where they would fake that handoff at the free throw line or extended. And she's able to just turn the corner and get to the paint.
Just the 5th point of the 3rd quarter for BYU with 19 seconds to play in this frame. And make it 6. Purcell knocks down both free throws. The Cougars have still not missed a free throw as a team, 10 for 10. Kalani Purcell with 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. Final possession of the 3rd quarter. Laura Stockton, guarded by Mackenzie Pulsifer, who has come up with a couple of big steals. They switch the screen. Wayman guarding Stockton, and Kudrin throws it off the glass, almost goes in at the end of the 3rd quarter. It looked like it was going to be a BYU steal, but really a fitting end.
Whoa.
Lisa Fortier. And there is a look at Jill Barta, one of the premier players in the WCC, sitting on the bench. Forced out early in the first half with foul trouble. And right now, you got to think that Rice is going to come back into this game, just given the flow of what she has put together.
Yeah, if there is a lull in scoring, Coach Fortier will go to her. She knows who's feeling it, who's done well in this game, and for BYU, they are going to have to generate offense. I think they've done a pretty decent job of making the defensive adjustments, but they have to generate offense, whether it comes at the free throw line or whether it comes with those 2nd, 3rd chance opportunities on the boards.
They're cleaning something off of the floor right now. They have all of the kids in attendance come down and do the chicken dance on the floor. Maybe after this, I'm not sure that'll happen again. Who knows? Gonzaga to inbound the ball. Emma Stahl goes to Laura Stockton. 6-point Gonzaga lead. Backdoor cut. Stockton takes the pass from Smith. She's cut off and has the ball knocked down and stolen away. Turnover, transition opportunity for BYU. Broadhead opts to pull it back out to Purcell. Goes into Wayman, who then promptly goes back outside, and now Broadhead controls again. Kalani Purcell looking at a cutting Pulsifer, not there. Now Broadhead with 13 on the shot clock. Good defense by Gonzaga. Getting back down, Purcell. Oh man, it feels like forever since BYU has knocked in a field goal.
Boy, it has been.
Get it from Purcell.
6 minutes where they did not score in that 3rd quarter. Purcell and Broadhead combined for 6 points in the 3rd quarter. That's the only players that scored.
Smith, not a good shot early in the shot clock. Cassie Broadhead, Euro step. Just missed the bucket. She'll shoot 2 free throws, and the Cougars looking to climb even closer than 4.
Well, Pulsifer has really had her struggling most today, shooting the ball just 0 for 9, and this is a beautiful pass. She draws the defense, kicks it out, and look at Broadhead. Nobody stops ball. Smith gets all the way back. Next person has to stop ball.
First free throw is up and good from Broadhead. BYU now 11 for 11 as a team. Cassie Broadhead with 16 points, tied for a game-high lead with Kalani Purcell. And now she leads all scorers with 17 in front of almost 2,200 at the Marriott Center today. Largest West Coast Conference crowd of the season for BYU. Emma Stahl. Oh, what a shot from Emma Stahl. She's been quiet offensively the entire game until that point, and only taken one other shot, and she knocks down a dagger of a three-pointer.
Well, and she has had that defensive assignment on Pulsifer. So even though she hasn't scored, she has been tremendous in slowing Pulsifer down for BYU.
Brenna Chase to Purcell, skip pass back to Pulsifer. Good ball movement from BYU. Cassie Broadhead, step back just behind the free throw line. No good, rebounded by Jill Barta. Offensive buckets, hard to come by for both teams here in the second half. Ellie Tinkle to Kudrin. Stahl, who just hit that big three. Purcell over to help out. Barta front rims that, gets her own rebound, goes back up. No good, rebounded by Amanda Wayman. BYU dodges the bullet right there with the Zags getting multiple opportunities. Chase.
Nobody boxing out Barta, box out the shooter, and so very lucky.
A break for BYU as Amanda Wayman couldn't handle the pass from Purcell. She knocked it back in bounds off of the Zags, but one more look at Emma Stahl. In rhythm.
She's one of the better three-point shooters. Last year averaged 40%, around 36% this season. But she's been quiet, and she hasn't forced it. She hasn't taken those shots. I feel like Pulsifer's forced it a little bit. When you're cold like that, you've got to find other ways to score. Stahl just hasn't found those opportunities to score, and so she hasn't tried to force it.
Christine Nielsen, good back cut by Purcell, who gets the assist. And a steal by Pulsifer on the inbound. Pulsifer, no numbers. She'll try a long two. And it rolls around and down. That gets a fist bump from Jeff Judkins, the BYU bench, and fans going nuts. 51-50, 7:22 to play, timeout Gonzaga. And a comeback win over the Zags. That game also on a Saturday. And just a moment ago, Mackenzie Pulsifer with a steal off the inbound. Opted not to go to the hoop, was left open. Hasn't hit a shot all day until that one drops down. You just pointed out a stat to me, Kristen. In the third quarter, BYU 1 for 13 shooting as a team. We've played all of 3 minutes here in the fourth quarter, and the Cougars have already tripled that effort in the field goal make category.
3 for 4, excuse me, here in the fourth quarter. Did you see Barta just trying to attack? BYU stays straight up defensively. They're not bailing them out, and I like that. They're not swiping down at the basketball. They're keeping their hands straight up. Just force them to take a tough shot.
BYU gets that defensive stop. Jeff Judkins told Jason Shepard at halftime they need consecutive defensive stops. They've had that here in the fourth quarter and have paid it off with a few makes. Cougars with a chance to take the lead, down by 1.
Gonzaga sticking with that zone, which they switched to coming out at half.
Good ball movement by the Cougars. Pulsifer, 3, no good. Still can't find the range, but Wayman down low, causing havoc for the Gonzaga bigs, and that will create another BYU possession off of Kudrin.
Wayman has done a nice job. She has 5 rebounds in this game, has not even taken a shot. But creating those extra opportunities for the other 4 to score has been phenomenal.
Fresh shot clock for the Cougars. Cassie Broadhead holding near midcourt. Purcell, three-point country, left wing, off the screen. Purcell into the lane. That drops down. BYU leads 52-51. 6-0 run for the Cougars.
And this is where they have to execute defensively. They have to communicate, bring that ball pressure, and make a stop.
Five-second call for Laura Stockton, who was calling for a screen from Jill Barta. We saw Cassie Broadhead get rung up for that earlier in the game. And now BYU with all of the momentum. Kalani Purcell, 18 points, the last 2 on that floater in the lane.
Purcell is such an unselfish player, and she hasn't been too accustomed of taking that ball and really scoring. And look at this in transition against the press.
The press break from Purcell to Wayman with the touch pass. Layup is scored. BYU up by 3.
Momentum has shifted to BYU's side because of some defensive hustle plays, offensive boards, created extra opportunities.
Rice nearly tied up, and Stockton tried to score. Now the ball poked away from behind. Broadhead in front of Tinkle. blocked out of bounds. BYU basketball.
What a hustle from Tinkle. And here you see against that press, heads up play from Nielsen. It's about spacing and breaking that press, and BYU good spacing, they stretch out the floor. But Tinkle with the hustle play defensive, she has 5 blocks in this game.
And on the inbounds play, BYU scores again. Purcell now with 20 points, 56-51. It's a 10-0 run for BYU. Staw can't hit from 8 feet away. Loose ball. Pulsifer picks it up to Broadhead, and the Cougars are running again. No numbers there. Broadhead wisely pulls it back out. Over to Purcell now, gets the ball back. 15 seconds on the shot clock, guarded by Loetta. Gonzaga led by as many as 8 here in the second half. BYU now up by 5, a 13-point swing in the second half. Nielsen, step back 3. Almost goes in to beat the shot clock buzzer. But the rebound by the Zags. Loetta looking to score quickly, and she forces the issue. Fouled by Pulsifer. She'll shoot 2 free throws.
Loetta very quickly up the court, pushing the ball. Pulsifer really didn't have an option to try to slow her down. Came down on it, a lot of contact, good call. Gonzaga's been in their own scoring slump now, over 4 minutes where they have not scored, 0 for 5 in their last field goal attempts. And so getting to the free throw line needs to be the answer for them right now.
That's the first missed free throw by either team today. Gonzaga now 6 of 7, BYU 12 for 12. The Cougars have outscored the Zags here in the fourth quarter 14-3. And another big miss by Loetta. Those are a killer. Still plenty of time.
Purcell securing that rebound, and BYU, when they get those defensive boards, it's deflating for Gonzaga. They thrive off the offensive glass.
Broadhead. Everything falling for BYU now in the fourth quarter after a miserable third quarter from the field.
Well, they've got
Broadhead.
a lot of energy behind them with this electric crowd continuing to carry that momentum.
7-point BYU lead, under 4 to play, and another steal. Purcell over to Broadhead. She'll back it back out. Swung from Purcell to Pulsifer for 3. That's good!
That's the only way they're going to chip away at this 10-point lead.
Gonzaga led at half. They have yet to lose a game in which they have led at halftime. 17-0. They've got a huge hole to dig out of here in the fourth quarter. 61-51, BYU in front. Loetta with Rice. Off the screen, Cudrin, Purcell. And another steal for BYU. Christine Nielsen, reverse layup, errant shot, falls into the hands of Tinkle.
Yeah, she knows it right away. Looking right at Coach Judkins that was not a smart shot. You don't have numbers, you don't have position in transition, pull it back.
Well, until that shot, Jeff Judkins has had very little to complain about from his team, but missed opportunity, and now Gonzaga looking for that offensive spark. Loetta off the screen of Cudrin. Williams, always a three-point threat. Tinkle, right wing to Cudrin, free throw line area, drives inside, and she's fouled. It's exactly what you want if you're Gonzaga. Get to the foul line, make some free throws.
Well, and it stops the clock. You know, you get this clock to stop, drawing that contact, try to earn some of that offense at the free throw line. These are give-me's.
Cudrin, big free throw make right there. Laura Stockton back into the game, replacing Loetta. Jill Barta on the floor with Cudrin, Stockton, McKinley Williams, and Ellie Tinkle.
That's her veteran 5, experienced 5 that have carried this team, a good core for Gonzaga. And going for the steal, looking for that steal in this full court man-to-man press.
Such an advantage for BYU to have a player like Kalani Purcell who can handle the ball as a 4. Driving on Kudrin. Stripped away, big turnover, and another foul. That is the 14th foul on BYU, so Gonzaga 1 away from shooting 2 for the rest of the 4th quarter. 2:42 to play, BYU with an 8-point advantage.
Well, BYU has to be smart. They're going to have to get high percentage shots, but not allow Gonzaga to get any momentum building shots on their end. So defensively, execute your team principles.
Stockton working on Wayman, Pulsifer trailing. Broadhead tracks down Williams. Williams driving baseline, off her leg. Turnover back to BYU. 18 turnovers now for Gonzaga, the majority of those coming here in the second half and the 4th quarter for sure.
Well, BYU's going to double team off of this pick and roll, and they stay with the ball on Williams. A nice double, Broadhead, just a competitor, sticks with that ball and places it off of Williams.
Nielsen, double teamed.
Nielsen is holding on to the ball way too long.
Well, BYU dodging a bullet right there. Good pressure from that Gonzaga defense. Broadhead, and this is not a good sign for BYU. Their leading scorer on the floor.
I didn't even see what happened. She took a hit, and right away they put a towel to her chin. Oh, man. Williams' elbow right to Broadhead.
Inadvertent elbow for sure.
For sure. They're going to review this, though, with the elbow. Anytime there's an elbow involved, and what a tough blow for BYU, because to have Broadhead out, even in the last 2 minutes right now, is going to be a big influence on their team. You see that contact? Wow. That's a shot to the face.
And the rings Broadhead's bell, and you saw blood on that towel as she was holding it up to her chin. Now being looked at closely by the trainers.
And they're looking at her mouth right now. And you see her mom just worried about her.
Cassie up on her feet, point against the #1 team in the conference.
And you can feel the emotion on her mother's face. Just worry for her daughter. Knowing the situation, but you want her, obviously, to be okay.
Broadhead, the junior out of Glenville, New York.
I thought there was no harm done, and in that she wasn't malicious in the contact, it was just incidental. Now Chase will come in for Broadhead.
Amanda Wayman takes the ball in the backcourt, which you can do on an inbounds play like that without a penalty. Brenna Chase working on Laura Stockton. Good ball handling, now picks up her dribble over to Nielsen. 1 second on the shot clock, and that shouldn't count, as it was after the shot clock in that attempt. And here comes Cassie Broadhead. Huge sigh of relief for the BYU fan base as Broadhead comes back into a overwhelming reception.
Well, she brings all the energy back with her. You can feel it. Everyone's so excited to have her back, and very quickly McKinley Williams said, "You all right?"
Yeah, good sportsmanship displayed right there. Barta open for 3, no good. Broadhead shields off Kudrin with the rebound, gives to Purcell, and now takes the ball back. Ellie Tinkle there. And now Pulsifer. And Mackenzie Pulsifer is fouled. Second team foul on Gonzaga. They still need to do that 3 more times before they can force BYU to get on the free throw line.
Now BYU, very important to take care of the basketball, because you know that Gonzaga at this point has to go for a steal or a quick foul to stop the clock.
Cassie Broadhead takes the bounce pass from Purcell in a precarious position, but somehow the Cougars escape that. Williams trying to foul Broadhead, and they finally do, stopping the clock with 1:20. Third team foul, still 2 more to go before BYU's at the free throw line. McKaylee Orton will check in and replace Amanda Wayman.
What a toughness Cassie Broadhead brings to this team in the court. They need her out there. She's been the leader all season long.
Knocked out of bounds. Mackenzie Pulsifer dives into the scorer's table. No foul call, just out of bounds. BYU basketball. Honestly, Gonzaga probably wants a foul
to stop it. But going for the steal, I think Tinkle, she's a hustle player where she is going for that steal and trying to tip that ball even before she's trying to go for the foul.
Mackenzie Pulsifer has had some epic bruises on her body this year. She's a workhorse. Broadhead to Pulsifer. And there is the foul call as Tinkle is reaching. You can't blame Gonzaga for being aggressive at this point. Trying everything they can to get back in this game late, down by 8.
Clearly contact right there. The officials are all on top of it. They know what it's coming down to at this point with just over a minute to play, that Gonzaga is going for the steal or looking for the foul. And so they are watching very closely.
And there were some players on the floor because of what happened on the sideline when Pulsifer went into the bench that thought that was a foul call. It was not, so there are still only 4 fouls. They walked to the free throw line and had to come back. BYU will inbound once again. To Purcell, and she's fouled by Kudrin. Kalani Purcell will go to the free throw line for BYU, where the Cougars are perfect on the day, 12 for 12 as a team.
Purcell with a chance to tie her career high or break it. Her career high is 21 points versus Oregon State in December.
And there is the first free throw miss. We had to wait until the 4th quarter for the first miss from Gonzaga and the first from BYU. This free throw from Purcell to tie a career high. She does so. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Her parents all the way from New Zealand watching on senior day. Stockton to Barta. Barta looking for an opening at the three-point line. Nothing there. 1 minute even to play. Tinkle driving into the lane. Right at Purcell. Blocking foul called.
And the underneath official looking at her partner out on the right wing to see if he was in agreement with her. Tinkle just being aggressive. She knows they need to score. Boy,
we've seen this. I mean, this has been consistent, right? With Stockton taking a couple of charges.
Yep.
And now Purcell taking one, but everything's been called a block. So really, it's been a consistent call.
We've seen one charge call in this game, and that was Stockton driving with a little bit of elbow extension. It hasn't come when there's all that contact and a body falling down in the paint.
Free throw make from Ellie Tinkle to pull Gonzaga back within 8. 57.9 to play. Long way to go in this game between the West Coast Conference's top 2 teams. Nothing but net on the second free throw from Tinkle. Timeout, BYU.
Those were big free throws. Pulsifer knocks down that shot after the steal. It just becomes contagious and spreads like wildfire on the team, where they start to believe, that confidence gets up and they roll with it.
Kaylee Orton is fouled on the inbound from Christine Nielsen.
Well, BYU's got to knock down free throws. 56 seconds, but they're going to try to stop the clock as much as they can. And very interesting that BYU has only 3 players that shoot over 69% at the free throw line. Gonzaga has 10 players that shoot over 69%. So that tells you a little bit of difference there in how BYU shoots at the free throw line versus Gonzaga.
Kaylee Orton, an 82% free throw shooter. Just behind Cassie Broadhead, who leads the team at 84. Orton knocks down the first free throw, no problem. She's got 6 points. Hit a big 3 early in the game, and the second free throw also good. BYU back up by 9. 55 seconds to play. Cougars looking for what would easily be their biggest win of the season. Kudrin to Emma Staw, who is a 3-point threat, and Broadhead called for the foul on Staw, driving baseline right.
BYU, a lot of pressure on the perimeter, and Gonzaga just can't get a 3-point shot. Look at the basket, so they're going to put the ball on the floor. From Maringa, watch right here. This is a much better angle to see if there was contact.
Emma Stahl to the free throw line.
She's a 79% free throw shooter.
Drops in both, 64-57. Foul called. Mackenzie Pulsifer will now go and attempt two at the charity stripe. 81% on the season.
She is 2 for 2 today. BYU at 94% at the free throw line, 15 for 16 in this game.
Pulsifer now with 8 points, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, just 2 of 12 shooting from the field. But she was 0 for 9 and then knocked down a couple of big shots. Really changed the momentum of this game for BYU, but has been a presence the entire afternoon defensively. Guarding Laura Stockton right now. BYU back up by 9, exchanging free throws. Stockton off the glass, no good. Nielsen grabs the ball, and she is wrapped up by Jill Barta. That might do it.
That was a crucial defensive board that BYU needed to secure. And there was 3-4 white jerseys in there to try and get that rebound.
So we are just hearing from the BYU training staff via Jason Shepard that Cassie Broadhead has a loose tooth, bit of a fat lip after that elbow, inadvertent elbow from Williams. Nothing that will keep her out of the game for sure, and she is on the floor. And the Cougars continue to be excellent from the free throw line. 18, make it 19 for 20. Williams for 3. Big shot, but probably too little too late. Pulsifer is fouled, 20.9 to play, 8-point game. And BYU will go back to the free throw line.
As long as BYU keeps knocking down these free throws, they're going to stay ahead in this one. They've got to do a little bit better recognizing when they're coming off screens for Gonzaga. You got to be tighter to Stahl. And Williams, those are their top 3-point shooters.
That just the 4th 3-point make for Gonzaga on the afternoon. Williams has 2 of them. Pulsifer makes another free throw, 69-60. 10 points now for Mackenzie Pulsifer, 3rd BYU player into double figures. Give her 11, she's 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Final seconds of this game, Williams to fire up a 3. In and out, no, it drops in. 10 seconds to play, and nearly a steal. Nielsen is fouled. Well, if they get the ball there and then make a shot, then maybe it gets a little bit interesting. But with 8.8 seconds to play and Nielsen going to the free throw line, BYU going to win this game against Gonzaga. Take down.
Wait, what effort, though, from Gonzaga? I mean, to execute offensively, and Williams getting looks. BYU is in her face. Those aren't easy shots to take. She's coming off the screen. BYU's trailing her, trying to stay tight to her. Williams, about a 33% 3-point shooter, has knocked down 2 in the last minute.
The seniors are taken out to a standing ovation from the crowd. Kalani Purcell, Mackenzie Pulsifer. We will keep our coverage rolling as the Cougars honor the seniors. Nielsen misses the free throw. How about Pulsifer? Rough shooting, but 5 steals, Kristen.
5 steals, and she still had 11 points. 6 for 6 at the free throw line.
Nielsen makes the second free throw, 71-63. And now Nielsen, another senior, is going to be taken out of the game.
The only senior left out there on the court, McKaylee Orton, number 34.
Orton started this game and will finish it. Williams for 3 at the buzzer, no good. BYU beats Gonzaga 71-63. What a game. It turned around in the 4th quarter for BYU. The Zags led by 8 late in the 3rd quarter. And BYU